edition of Historical Geocaching on the Road with geocacher Dan Fudbug from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Today, I and my family are going on a trip to the heart of downtown Chattanooga. We are going to be going to a place called the Chattanooga Choo Choo. One of the major things Chattanooga is known for, other than being home of the Little Debbie snack crackers or snack foods, is the Chattanooga Choo Choo song by Glenn Miller. And what used to be the main train station for Chattanooga is now turned into a hotel called the Chattanooga Choo Choo. There's also some other stuff there. We're going to go there, explore, see what's there, and then maybe head over across the river to Coolidge Park, which is another legendary Chattanooga park attraction thingy. We're going to see what's there too, so come along with us as we have some fun exploring Chattanooga. Okay folks, we are now in downtown Chattanooga at the Choo Choo. You can see that little sign at the top. We're going to go in and see what we can find. And welcome to the Chattanooga Choo Choo. I found a historical marker that I'm going to show you now. Here's a marker. It says Terminal Station, Chattanooga, Tennessee. The terminal station was designed in the year 1900 by architect Don Barber of New York City and was awarded first place in the 1900 Paris Beux Arts competition. Construction was started in 1906, was completed in December 1909. The terminal station was closed in 1970 after serving Chattanooga for some 64 years. It was purchased, restored, and reopened to the public in April 1973 by the Chattanooga Choo Choo Company. It was entered on the National Register of Historic Places by the U.S. Department of the Interior on January 25, 1974. Okay, and I just did a 180 from the marker where I was. Here is a man statue. I have no clue who he is or what significance he is, but here he is. I think I might make a challenge here, get some information anyway. So anyway, that's that. We continue on our expedition at the Choo Choo here. And guess what I found? Not surprisingly, another historical marker, military history of Chattanooga. This city was first occupied by Confederate troops in the spring of 1862 under Generals Floyd, Maxey, and Ledbetter. Union troops under General Mitchell shelled it June 7 and 8. Bragg's army occupied it in August, preparing for the Kentucky campaign again in the fall. On its return from Kentucky in the summer of 1863, while returning before Rosecrans from Middle Tennessee, retiring before Rosecrans. Wilder shielded the city from Stringer's Ridge August 21. Bragg evacuated it September 7 and 8, and a small Union force took possession. Rosecrans occupied it in force the second morning after the Battle of Chickamauga, and thereafter it remained in Union control. Thomas succeeded Rosecrans October 19. Grant took general command October 23. A short line of supplies to Bridgeport by Brown's Ferry was opened August 28 upon a plan devised by General Rosecrans. Let's see. Hooker's forces arrived in Lookout Valley on that date and fought the Battle of Wauhatchie. We saw the battlefield of Wauhatchie from Sunset Rock in my Lookout Mountain video if you want to go see that. I have it posted on YouTube. Sherman's troops crossed the Tennessee above the city during the night of November 23. On that day, the Army of the Cumberland carried Orchard Knob. November 24, Hooker's column captured the north slope of Lookout Mountain. On November 25, Missionary Ridge, accepting Cleburne's position at Tunnel Hill and the intervening line to Walthall's stand north of DeLong's, was carried by Grant's combined armies, Bragg retreating to Dalton. So interesting history, glad we got to learn it. And here's what is claimed to be the original or the real Chattanooga Choo Choo. There's a historical marker I'm going to look at in a second, and I think we can actually go up into the cab, so I'm going to see if I can do that too. But here it says Chattanooga Choo Choo. It was on March 5, 1880 that the first passenger train leaving Cincinnati for Chattanooga was nicknamed the Chattanooga Choo Choo. This historical occasion opened the first major link in public transportation from the north to the south, and the Choo Choo was operated by the Cincinnati Southern Railroad, America's first municipal railway system. So let's see if we can indeed go in. Looks like we can. Look mode.
Okay, landed.
Got it? Yeah.
Here we are
Big brother's done.
inside the Chattanooga Choo Choo. I think I'm going to make a challenge here. Get your picture here. So that's what's happening. See you guys a little later. Okay, folks, so the Choo Choo, I did climb aboard. We are, I made a challenge there. I don't know if you heard. You get your picture on or near the Choo Choo. And right now we're going to go for a trolley ride here. So come along with us on a Choo Choo trolley ride. Okay, we are now in the trolley. Just had to give our tickets to the conductor. He's down there. And I forgot to tell you, but there is a challenge already created here that you have to ride this trolley for a small fee, and you get a picture of yourself on the trolley singing the Chattanooga Choo Choo song. So I don't know the Chattanooga Choo Choo song, but I know 3 words of the Chattanooga Choo Choo song. Chattanooga Choo Choo. So I'm singing the Chattanooga Choo Choo song, and I'm completing the geocaching photo challenge. So a lot of fun. Getting excited about this trip, and we will turn this camera on a little later when we start to move.
So, everything looks in order. So, welcome aboard the trolley, folks. My name is Wes. I'll be your conductor. We're going to have about a 20-odd minute trip. Now, before we get going, there are a couple quick safety rules I'm required to go over. Keep it nice and quick. First of all, make sure you keep your hands and arms inside these windows here at all times. We have train cars, there's bushes, there's buildings out there. If you stick your hand out and get hurt, it means we all stay after doing paperwork. That's no fun for anybody. Make sure you stay in your seats at all times we're in motion. I might have to stop suddenly. If I see people on the tracks, that means I gotta stop immediately. So, as long as your seat, you won't fall down, you won't get hurt. That means no paperwork. Now the third, the most important of all the rules, you gotta have fun no matter how hot it gets or how bad the attempts at humor. And trust me, they will be very bad. So all that said, your tank's full, no last minute passengers. Then let's get the air conditioner on, shall we? Here we go. There we go.
Oh, that's cool.
Beautiful. On speed here. Beautiful. Here we go. Now this train station that we're in now actually fairly recently had its 102nd birthday. As I've been walking around through the station, you've probably seen that 100-year logo that's posted all around. Terminal Station's 100th birthday was on December 1st of 2009. That means, of course, the first train left here December 1st, 1909. Now, this station was one of 2 major passenger train stations here in Chattanooga. Terminal Station here was the larger of the 2. Now, when this station was built back in 1908, at the time, this spot here was the far southern side of town. Actually, Main Street to our right was the far southern border back then. So, for most of its life, Terminal Station was mainly in charge of east, south, and westbound lines out of Chattanooga. Now, there also was another station called Union Station, about 7-8 blocks down the street. Back then, that was the far north side of town, so northbound trains ran through Union Station. Between these 2 stations, Chattanooga ran up to 150 passenger trains every day, which made this one of the world's busiest railroad towns. Brings to a stop out here. Coming up to a first crossing. Make sure we have nobody coming across. Crossing. Clear. Just gotta stop at every crossing. We don't want to hit anybody. That's a lot of paperwork. Well, to come through this first crossing, here to our left is Hotel Building number 1. This was the first hotel building added back in 1973. The indoor pool in those windows. all these train cars to our right are all hotel rooms as well. Every one of these train cars here is a real sleeper car that was actually used on the Southern Railroad. In fact, the green car we're just now passing is the oldest one here, built in 1919. And the next one down, this red car, is the very newest one, built in 1956. Of course, all those cars have since been updated to modern hotel rooms with all the amenities of home. Shower, water, heating, air conditioning. Most importantly, you can't see the tracks when you flush anymore. All those cars used to have a little sign that said, "Do not flush while trains in station." To say there was a very good reason. Up here, make sure we have nobody coming across. Prelim's earlier. Also, clear. Clear. Yeah, good enough. We can't push out the way. There we go. Over here. Now, coming on through the second crossing, to our right now is the second hotel building, aptly named Hotel Number 2. Now, this whole southern side of the station, we're building 3 we're building 2. Building 2 was built back in '78. Words crossed there. The building 2 was built back in 1978. Used to be a little jazz club inside called Pennsylvania Station. Unfortunately, it had to be shut down because of a very, very unpopular rule. See, everybody had to leave the Pennsylvania Station about 4:15. Like see here in Baltimore. A couple Glen Miller fans at least. I'm not so cruel that I would subject you to my singing, however. So, make sure nobody's coming through. Let's see, nobody crossing. Looks good. Come on, girl. There you go. Good girl. Let's been talking about some times. Now, continuing on through this next crossing. Now up ahead of us to our right, past this tree, you'll see a big red train car. Young folks up here, tell me what that kind of car is? Yep, there, you got it, sir. That's a 1955 Santa Fe model caboose. The same kind that was actually used on trains that came through Chattanooga. In fact, it's very, very likely that this particular caboose did come through here at one time or another. We don't have a way of knowing 100% for sure. We do know, though, that this caboose was used on the Southern Railroad of this region during the 50s and 60s, so we've got a 95% chance it actually came through this station. Now, if we talk about turning that caboose into a hotel room as well, maybe a honeymoon suite, yeah, in my opinion, I think it should be an in-laws suite. I save distance. Slows down a little bit here. We got one little bumpy spot. Slows down a bit. That's not too bad. As we come through this little switch, to our right is the newest of the hotel buildings, which you might guess is called Hotel Number 3. Now, this whole southern side of the station here, where Building 3 is now, all this used to be the maintenance and repair area. Used to be workshops, outbuilding standing where Building 3 is today. The only piece of that maintenance area still remaining is that yellow crane that stands over there to our right in the parking lot. Now, that crane may look fairly unremarkable nowadays. That was actually one of the first electric cranes ever used in a train station. It was installed here back in 1934. So from a hand crank to an electric crane might not sound like all that big of an upgrade. Actually, just that little swap to an electric crane about double the number of train cars that come through for routine maintenance in an average day. From an average of about 250 a day to about 500, or every 5 minutes or so. All just not having to hassle with a hand crank crane. So, make sure we have nobody coming across. Nobody crossing. Looks good. Come on, girl. There you go. Good girl. Now, there's another good example of this station's technology to our left as we come through the crossing. Is here passed by all these multicolored pipes. Now, to the modern eye, these pipes pose some kind of weird devices. We got a Mario game. Those are what remain of some of the first gas pumps for trains in the world. These pumps were installed here back in 1928, when the Southern Railroad first began using diesel-powered engines. Now, when those pumps were installed, those are all up in full blast. Those have got a total of about 2,000 gallons of diesel fuel a minute. They had to pump that quickly, because every train that came through Terminal Station beginning in 28, that steam to diesel switch, was on a very, very, very tight 30-minute turnaround schedule. Of that half hour, every train was allowed a strict maximum 2 minutes to get its tanks filled up. Of course, your average train time held about 5 to 300 gallons in the size number of cars. They had to fill very quickly. Slows down. We got one more little bumpy spot here. Slows down just a little bit. That's not too bad. As we come up towards the back here, if you look out back past this fenced-in parking lot, you can see the oldest building in the entire station, called Terminal Tower. Tall brown building back here. The terminal tower was finished in June of 1907, of course, before the actual station was built. This was the original switch tower here in the station. Out of those top windows, you can see all the tracks, all the switches all around the station. The way they controlled those switches, there were a total of 120 switches on these tracks, all run by 60 men. So every man had 2 switches. Whenever it came time to flip a switch, they'd sound an alarm from the top of that tower, picture by looking up. And then from those front windows, they'd fly one of 120 different flags. Every switch had its own flag. So whenever one of those men saw the flag for one of those 2 switches, from the time that flag went up, he then had 60 seconds, 1 minute to run as fast as he could and flip that switch. To make in time, of course, you have a train on the wrong track. A little bit of a train wreck in the station. It was a high-pressure job. Those men must have been very, very quick, because Terminal Station is one of the only train stations in the world that's never had even a minor collision inside. Sometimes despite my best efforts. Okay. Now we're at our switch point here. Past this point, we have tracks get a little bit broken up. We go over those, what'll happen is we'll jump off the tracks, and then we gotta get out and push, which I don't think we want to do. So we will do what we call a switching maneuver. That's the fancy name for turning around. So, I'll show you here. These seats all can flip just like so. So, when we take off again, we will take off down this way. Now, this side will be the front. Come on down to this end. Come on down real quick. Just pull around. Just take one more.
This is really cool.
You start there.
We're gonna sit right here. Sit right there.
Alright. We're just about ready to take off again. Before we can go, there's one more very important job that I need a little bit of help with. And I think you look like just the man for that job. Come on up here. I need your help. Can ring the bell? Not too hard, I promise. No worries.
Thank you.
Yeah. Get a ringing lady?
Allison,
Come on up, you've been volunteered.
you on a plane, Freeland?
Hey, Mom, come on, I know, we got somebody can get a bell, a good loud ring. You wanna do it? Come on up, young man. We got a volunteer. Pull real loud. Everybody knows we're here. One more, real loud. One more. Excellent job, thank you, sir. Now we're ready to go. We gotta ring that bell every time we start moving. Just in case there's somebody in front of me that don't see that we're coming out of the way. Because we don't want to hit anybody. Or everybody's there. Be careful. Now what I was doing when I stepped out there, you might have seen when we were first boarding up, I was putting that pole and the wire up top. All the power for this trolley runs from a 600-volt line that runs right over our heads, fully electrical. Now that line up top connects to a pole on each end. They're called pantographs, technically. Back in Jeopardy one day. Those pantographs basically work like the plug for a separate engine system on the opposite side of the trolley. So what I was doing, it's very simple. I was just pulling down the pole on this side, which unplugged that engine, and then the opposite, putting the pole on the far side up, plugging in the engine under here. Now this trolley that we're on is actually one of the first trolley cars ever built that was able to turn around that way. This trolley was originally a custom-built design for the city of New Orleans. Back in the 1920s, the city of New Orleans had a plan to offer trolley service all over the city. But the only trolleys being built at that time were single-engine models which only could move in one direction, which turned out to be a problem in New Orleans, because many of the streets they planned to run on physically didn't have the room for a loop of track to turn around with. Look at our next crossing here. Before we go on, we're going to bring us to a stop. And go. Come on through. And before we go on, I'm going to need a little bit more help. We'll get the bell ring. Volunteer? Yes. Come on up, young lady. Pull real loud. There you go. Come more. One more. Real loud. Excellent job. Thank you. And get her on through. Come on, girl. There you go. Good girl. Where was I? Oh, yes. So to solve that problem of the loops, the city of New Orleans commissioned the Pearly Thomas Company, that's a train company in North Carolina, to design and build them a trolley car that would be able to turn around as we did here, while still being easy to maintain and cheap to run for every street. So this model is the one they built, known as the Model 900 trolley. Now this Model 900 did so well in New Orleans. One time or another you've seen this model in streets all around the country, even all over the world. Became kind of the ubiquitous trolley car. Now this particular one that we're on was part of the original New Orleans fleet. This trolley was built in 1924. From 1924 until 1960, this trolley was the Canal Street trolley in New Orleans. It was decommissioned in 1960. It's a nice easy retirement up here. Slow us down a little bit. Coming to that little bumpy spot again. I gotta go real slow to these bumpy spots. What'll happen if we go too fast, it'll bounce a little bit, it'll bounce that pole right off the wire. Come on, plug basically. Then I gotta plug us back in. That sounds way too much like work to me. There we go. Beautiful. There we go. Now, one other story that I always have to touch on. This is one even most locals here don't know. It's a story about the name, the Chattanooga Choo Choo, where that name came from, what it actually meant. It's a common misconception. Most folks who walk in the door here think that steam engine out there on the platform is the Chattanooga Choo Choo, which is not exactly true. In fact, there never was one particular train or one station by that name. The name of the Chattanooga Choo Choo was the nickname given to a route that ran between Cincinnati, Ohio and Chattanooga. So any train that was on that route could have been called the Chattanooga Choo Choo, including that engine out there. So, it is not the Chattanooga Choo Choo out there. That one is a Chattanooga Choo Choo. One of many trains that use that. Drop up here, cut across. No worries. So we're next crossing. So before we go on, a little more help. Who wants to give it a ring? Is it a volunteer?
Give it a ring?
You ready?
Yeah, Bradley wants to.
Come on up. Well, real loud. Make sure everybody hears us. Good. Come more. There you go. One more. Real loud. Excellent job. Now they know we're coming.
Yay!
Good. Come on. There you go.
Tell Daddy.
There we go. Now the reason that Chattanooga Choo Choo route became so famous, so important, have its own nickname, its own famous song. That route made its first trip out of Cincinnati in May of 1880, which made that the very first passenger route to actually cross the Mason-Dixon line after the Civil War. Before that line was open, if you're traveling to the north and the south, you'd take a train to a border town, then have to walk across town to another station owned by a separate company, buy another ticket, usually at a very inflated price, and take another train from there. So that one ticket non-stop route made travel across the border much, much cheaper and much, much easier. It's a very important symbol of national unity and healing after the war. We're coming to our next to last crossing, so let's see. But not have sure wants to get one? Sure? Alright. Come on up, young fella. Come on up.
Come on,
Real
Miles.
loud.
Yay, Miles.
Alright, come more. One more, real loud. Excellent job. Thanks, sir.
Good job, Miles.
No.
Sorry.
Cross. Alright. Get her on. Come on, girl. Now, one little detail that you might have noticed on the way up, if you're looking at these train cars, you might have noticed that almost every one has a name on the side. For those that are all familiar with Chattanooga, the names on these cars read almost like a who's who of famous names, famous people from the city, especially business people. Those names are the names of the people that saved Terminal Station from demolition back in 1970. The Southern Railroad Company had a policy. Whenever they'd shut down a train station, they'd level the entire building. It was for tax reasons, to avoid tax on the empty building. In fact, that's why Union Station down the street was torn down, why there's so few stations in the South today. Simple little tax dodge. Well, this station was shut down in 1970. Our last crossing here. Now this is a very important crossing. A train to the left and a hotel on the right. It's kind of hard to see if there's somebody waiting to cross. So what I need is somebody to ring the bell really loud.
Ring it.
Sure you want to get one? Yeah, go right ahead, young lady. Real loud. Alright, there you go. Excellent job. Nice man. Awesome. Here we go. Here we go. Ah, where was it? Oh, yes. So the last train departed Terminal Station on August 11th, 1970. demolition on this main station building was going to begin on September 1st. In that 2.5 weeks or so, a local businessman and hotel owner named Alan Casey had the idea to save this old station by converting it to a hotel. Well, here we are today, it's obviously succeeded. To do that, though, he had to raise $15 million to buy out the station with Southern before that deadline. So, with the help of these local investors, which names are on the cards, he managed to raise that money. In fact, he managed to hand that check to the president of the Southern right around 4:45 p.m. on the 31st, at 15 minutes to the deadline. $15 million may sound like a lot of money. Well, let me tell the truth. That's about half what the station was originally supposed to have been sold for. There's a story behind the deal, of course. For a little background, the original price was based on construction costs. The terminal station back in 1908 cost about $1.5 million to build. Adjust that for inflation in 1970, you're looking at about $30-35 million. Today it's about $40-45. So if y'all happen to bring $45 million, I happen to have a train station I can sell you. That $15 million deal was a direct result of the Birmingham, Alabama station getting torn down. Back in 1968, the main passenger station in Birmingham got torn down under very similar circumstances, that same policy. It was a beautiful old brick building. Like this one, was a major part of that city's character. So when that station got torn down, there was a huge public outcry in the city of Birmingham, a lot of anger towards the Southern. In response, the president of the Southern Railroad made a promise. He said, I will do whatever I can if I'm offered a good, viable way to save one of these old stations. I'll do whatever I can to make sure we take it. Well, fast forward a couple years in 1970, Mr. Casey had come forward with a plan for terminal station. Still, the board of shareholders was refusing to budge from that $35 million price. Just more than Mr. Casey would possibly be able to get. So wanting to help out, the president of the Southern, the one thing he could do, he did some math. He looked what happened in Birmingham after that station got torn down. He found that every year the freight department of the Southern, which run almost like a separate company, was losing $3-4 million in recurring contracts every year in Birmingham since that station was torn down. Well, Chattanooga was also a major industrial town. By his calculations, the same rate held true here. That'd be a loss of $7-8 million in Chattanooga annually, which, as it turns out, is a much worse deal than a one-time deal on the station. So that is how he got them to agree to that $15 million deal. Really the only reason the station still stands today. So you might say, the terminal station would not be here today if the Birmingham station had not been torn down. They do like trying to get it back to the football field. We are back on our platform. Thank you all for taking a ride with us this morning. But I'd like to give the bell a ring as you come on. Go right ahead. And just want to watch your steps on the way down. There's a big old step down.
Okay, folks, we are now inside part of the Choo Choo. Really enjoyed that trolley ride. A lot of fun. Got to learn a lot of good stuff. Hope you enjoyed it too. And you know, there's lots of nice pictures of trains here. And we are now going to go see a model railroad, I think. So come along with us as we see the model railroad at the Chattanooga Choo Choo. Okay, folks, we are now here at the model railroad here at the Chattanooga Choo Choo. Look at the detail here. This is, I believe, called the Chattanooga Southern Model Railroad and is modeled to look like Southeast Tennessee, Chattanooga area. That, I would say, has to look like Lookout Mountain. As I said, just really amazing. And I will try to shoot some more footage of this really cool layout. There's a train down there. And it looks like all those little trolleys. Let me see if I can get it. Oh, it looks like the trolley that we just rode.
It is.
And another thing, that is what's supposed to be Lookout Mountain, I assume correctly. Look at that. The incline, but see, there's a train that's coming out there. But look at that. Incline railroad. That is cool. And that right there kind of looks like where we are, the Chattanooga Choo Choo, the terminal station. Oh yeah, look at that. Choo Choo right there, a little model sign. Is that awesome or what?
see, I was in the Greenpine Railroad go.
But that is neat. Okay, I forget how much I showed you, but this is still so amazing. It said Lookout Mountain in the background with the incline. Here's a freight train coming in here. Just incredible detail. A lot of work. My dad and I have done this kind of layout on a much smaller scale. It is a lot of work. And we've got a few pictures here. And yeah, wow, this is an incredible layout. Let's see, it looks like that train is going around on a curve. It's a really cool idea since it is modeled to kind of the Chattanooga area. And I said, oh wow, look at that Amtrak one. Cool. And here we are, still at the Chattanooga Southern Model Railroad. Different little room, but all the tracks are connected, of course. See a red engine going back there. This looks like to be more of a mountainous region. Oh, look at all those trains. So many. Let's zoom in. Look at all those tunnels. That's kind of neat. Oh, look at all those trestles in there. That is cool. Another train comes through there. Looks like in there is a turntable.
No, it's not. Anna, you gotta press the button
I am.
all the way in. There you go. Turned it around.
Okay, and here we are at the end of the Chattanooga Southern Model Railroad.
Oh, look, this is real stuff. Look.
Really cool. There's the roundhouse.
Remember in
That can actually be turned. See that engine being turned? That is cool. So anyway, it's kind of the end. I think I'm going to stop filming now, but I hope I've given you a good look at this really cool model railroad at the Chattanooga Choo Choo.
It wasn't in a. Also, one of those in the ground.
Okay, we are now outside part of the Chattanooga Choo Choo now. It's a lot of fun seeing that model railroad. Hope you enjoyed it, and also the trolley ride, that was terrific too. And so we're going to it's about all that's here that we're going to do, so on we go to something else.